Whoever wants to go next, I'm done.
No problem. How about you, 6-star? I don't know if I'm pronouncing correctly your name. Zeta CS Star.
There we go. Cool. Unmuted. Hey, so my name is Zane Star. I'm the founder of a company called Ships. It's not really a company, but more of a decentralized organization that we're trying to build. And so I'm working on building token economics or token economies for open source software. And so it's a combination of NFTs, fungible tokens, and the mix. What brings me to, more about myself. I'm currently based out of Los Angeles, California. I've been a software engineer for many years in the blockchain space for about the past 4 years. I worked on building decentralized science fiction at Stewards for the Consensus Project, for Consensus.Stewards. Vice versa, just like building and excited to be working on like sort of token economies. And what brings me to the TEC? Wanting to be a part of the larger conversation and to like experiment with new ideas, to share some of the things that I'm thinking about, and to try and contribute back towards the commons as much as possible. How did I stumble across this? I think I was just kind of looking around to see what other people were doing, and then I think I ended up looking at some of the research from and the things around sort of conviction voting from like OneHive, and then I just kind of followed the trail of links to find myself like here. So excited to meet everyone and to like contribute and talk about things, bring ideas. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. Distractions. Trying to get a startup off the ground, so that's probably the primary one, but distractions right now, none. Focus.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Then we'll pass it on to Michael Keating. Michael, welcome to the orientation call. In the orientation call, we have started by introducing ourselves, any instruction that you may have in your current setup, or any intention that you have for this call, if you would like to talk about it.
Thanks, and I'm sorry I just dropped in 10 minutes late. Excited to be getting to know this community. My name is Michael Keating. I'm based in San Francisco. I'm an electric mobility entrepreneur, so I founded and continue to work in local electric mobility, like electric scooters and bikes, and similar services. I'm also a kernel fellow with Gitcoin's Web3 kind of accelerator program, which has been a great way for me to ramp up in the blockchain ecosystem. And I came into Token Engineering Commons because I've been organizing some conversations amongst the kernel fellows to help myself and other folks get familiar with tokenomics and different interesting token models. So I've found already the Token Engineering Commons Discord to be a great resource to help us with that. In terms of distractions, right now I was writing an email, which is why I was late to the call. And my intention for the call was to just to introduce myself and get kind of properly onboarded into the tech community so that I could participate appropriately in the Discord and everything else that you guys are doing.
Thank you so much for that, Michael, and welcome. Just a small pause. There is no such thing as late for these meetings. You can enter and exit as however you feel like, and if you don't want to turn on your camera, it's okay. We respect. We're an open community. We encourage communication and communication. So feel free to be comfortable as however you are. And finally, Casal.it, welcome. We would like to introduce yourself and any intention or distraction you may have.
So I'm Casale. I've been around token engineering, I've been here for a long time, but I haven't done anything. I'm just watching stuff. So I'm kind of starting to learn and do stuff over here. And so yeah, I'm a software engineering student right now, and yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much. And then we will pass it on to the other members of our community. Nate, would you like to express your intentions and instructions?
Yes, my intentions are to meet with all of these amazing people who are, I just keep getting surprised about the talent and interest that we have here in the TEC. And so my intention is just to get to know you better and see where I can help out in informing you. And my distractions are, it's just early, so I get my coffee and I look forward to it. And I'll pass it back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Nate. And then Durgas, how about you? And then you can pass it on to Shui afterward.
I didn't hear the question.
Intentions and distractions.
Oh well, yeah, I just hang out, and then the other part of this is, I'm distracted because I have a day job and I'm on hold with the Canada Revenue Agency. So that's where I am. So I don't know who to pass it to.
Chewy, how about you? Thank you.
Thank you, Durgas, and thanks, Edu. Intentions for today's call, just a follow-up on the activity that we did yesterday during the communications call, and follow up on new contributors. And the distractions, I'm walking back home because I have to go and pay the electricity bill so that I can keep joining Discord. So I'm like 5 minutes away. But yeah, we'll be here soon. I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Shui. Good luck with that bill. And the last person, Angela, welcome back to our orientation call. Would you like to briefly introduce yourself and intentions and distractions?
Angela. I like to write, do short films. I also have a bakery business in which I'm a social manager. And I like to learn more about blockchain, crypto. Yeah, that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for being here. So we're going to start. And basically, we like to start these calls just to talk about the TEC. Some of you may have entered the space and be like, oh, what are these guys specifically doing? What are these guys' goals? What are these guys' intentions? So this community, we have created this, what we call the MVP, the Mission, Vision, Values of our community. The document that you are seeing on the screen is shared on the orientation channel. If you want to go and click on it and see the same things, or just take your own look at it. And then we will ask the members of our community who are here to tell us in their own words, what are our mission, vision, and values. And I would like to start with Tam. If you feel like explaining to everyone here, what is your version of the mission, vision, values?
I think it's worth saying first that the way that we came up with the mission, vision, and values was we had it was the way we do our collaborative setting of parameters. We did this collaborative mission, vision, and values exercise where many different people submitted mission, vision, and values, and we came up with these from them. But essentially, the mission is to advance token engineering. The mission is to make sure that Web3 and engineered systems are ethical, responsible, sustainable, and providing good for the broadness of humanity. And then our values are to be very, human-centric and kind and support open source and embrace diversity and radically inclusive. So that's the way I think about us and our culture. and the things that we want to achieve.
Thank you, Tam. So the idea that Tam just expressed about advancing to engineer, this is as she mentioned, the main goal of our community. We achieve this through different ways and processes. The first structure or the first layer of how we try to accomplish this mission, vision, and values is the working groups. Hello, Rose Life. Welcome to.
I'm sorry. Hey,
it's okay.
I didn't know my mic wasn't muted. I appreciate you guys for hosting this. I was super excited to join today and get to know more about the ecosystem and all the amazing things you guys are working on.
You're more than welcome. And we are going through right now through a little bit of explanation to the working groups and how we sort of work together and how we try to accomplish our mission, vision, values. So basically, we have 11 working groups. Every working groups are described here, and we basically, every working group have a steward or a co-steward who leads this working group. We have open calls in our calendar where everyone can join at any moment. And the calendar is open also to anyone. And then we will start describing a little bit of what this working groups does. Nate, would you like to start with the Softcup, for example, and explain a little bit what Softcup does?
Yeah, sure. So a Softcup working group is mainly focused on governance processes. So in particular, the kind of decisions that need to be made with social consensus. A lot of the things that we do is organize around how we make decisions, the communication processes, discussions around important decisions that need to be made within the community. And so Livia is our steward for that. And she does an amazing job in trying to tackle all of the problems that emerge in a decentralized organization that are involved with type of soft governance. And so when we talk about soft governance, it's mainly to do with non-technical decision-making processes, so things that avoid on-chain decisions. And so, yeah, it's focused, centered around that, and I hope I described that okay. But yeah, that's Softcup for you.
Thank you, Nate. Yeah, you did a great job. And Softcup, it's what Tamara explained before about the MPV, the mission, vision, values, is the working group that took care of developing and open the conversation about these topics. And most of our cultural build is taken care by this working group. So if any of you is interested in governance, and as I heard in some of the introductions, the Softcup could be a nice place for you to go. Afterwards, we have the stewards, which Tam is here, the steward. Would you like to explain a little bit about it, Tam?
Yeah, the stewards came about when there was probably, I wish I remembered exactly, like 7, 8 working groups already. And each working group was sort of working very independently from each other. So the stewards working group was to really facilitate transversal collaboration across all of the working groups, and each of the stewards of the working group is part of the stewards working group. We also have stewards that aren't leading working groups, but are knowledgeable about the TEC, are very active in the TEC, and are the MVV spreaders in the TEC as well. So the stewards working group is where we come together to tackle big questions in our Stewards Council. If there's something particularly contentious in the community that needs to be sort of discussed and debated and thought through, that's what our council, our bi-weekly council, is dedicated to. We have a weekly meeting where we just have checkpoints about what's happening in each of the working groups, so everyone is very aware of what's going on everywhere else. It's an area where we surface dependencies or blockers or anything that sort of needs to be addressed or would benefit from being addressed very rapidly. And then we follow the Scrum very light framework. So we do a sprint planning every 2 weeks. We do a sprint retrospective every 2 weeks. And we do every week we do a sprint review, basically, where we show the work that each working group has done every Thursday on the community call. So that acts like our review. We have a retrospective tomorrow, and our sprint planning is on Friday. This is where we, each working group will go through all of the issues that they will be working on for the next 2 weeks. So everything is very visible, very transparent. There's a lot of mutual accountability because we go through what we're going to do for the next 2 weeks, and then each of the working group at the end sort of has to, look at what they were able to do and what they weren't able to do, and surface the things that went well and didn't go so well, and actions to improve in our retrospective. So it's a fun group. All of everyone's calls are open to everyone, and sometimes we often have people who join the Stewards group who aren't stewards just to come and hang out and talk and give their perspective too, and everyone is really welcome to join us. Back to you, Edgar.
Then following that, we have Transparency Working Group. Transparency Working Group, it's a group that takes care of the internal transparency of the TEC community, any mechanisms that allows everyone to access information. For example, this call is recorded or could be recorded and then it goes to YouTube. So in case, for example, you want to join a certain working group, Transparency takes care to record every call of this working group and upload it to YouTube. So you can, if you missed it or you don't want to read the agenda, you just go to YouTube and look for the last call and you will see it there. They also take care of the audits of the other working groups and audits of the nature of things that affects everyone in the community. So they keep tabs and they help everyone to be transparent about it and any other practice related to that. We have legal, which as the name expressed, legal working group. It's a working group that help us to understand the legal framing and the legal strategy for the commons. For example, Cesar, that you were explaining about passing legislation at a local level, this working group may be your interest, or the work that this working group has done could be part of your interest too. Then we have the Omega working group that it examines the ethos and the ethics and the engineer field. We have the Gravity working group that it helps maintain an equilibrium. And it's a working group dedicated to conflict resolution management, because we are human beings and we will have conflict sometimes with each other or within the organization or any kind of conflict that could arise. Then the Gravity, it's the working group dedicated to that. And the Gravity also is having a course, the Graviton training, which is a training on conflict management. It's open. And they also give you pop-ups when you have assisted to after the end of the classes. And then we have parameters. And I feel the parameters is one of the most interesting working groups for a lot of you guys who mentioned there are interested in token economics. And I want to ask Nate if he can explain with better words than I can the parameters working group.
You're doing fine, Edu. The parameters working group is a fascinating working group because at this point in time, it's been leading the charge in terms of educating and being kind of the fulcrum by which we are all collectively designing our own economy. So the parameter working group focuses on the different parameters that are involved with developing a DAO structure, and as well as the augmented bonding curve and the conviction voting modules that we are about to implement with the Commons upgrade. And so a big part of that is educating people about the configuration dashboard that we have. So with our hatch process, it's a two-step launch. And so the hatch DAO we designed with our parameter group that here are the parameters for the DAO, and we collectively propose those parameters together and vote on them. And then that's the DAO that we're in right now. And then the Commons upgrade, which we're in the middle of right now, if you get a chance to look at our configuration dashboard, is the responsibility of the parameters working group. And so they offer a lot of opportunity, especially if you're a token engineer or interested in token economics, to really look at the implications of what these parameter decisions mean. And so if you're interested in that type of thing, this is a great working group to look into, as well as others if you're technically capable. So very interesting working group. Go ahead, dude.
Thank you. And if you're not technically capable, people there are also take the time. I'm not. Oh yeah, sorry. I thought I was muted. If you're not technically capable in this working group, also you can go to be educated or to learn by just assisting these calls. In my screen, it's one of the tools that we use, which is the common dashboard and the configuration models that May was explaining about the learning curve and so on. And this is right now one of our highlights. We are going through params parties, and params parties are excited. Param parties is what we call this safe space where everyone can join and learn about token economics and to learn how to set parameters. Everyone can create their own set of parameters to launch this token, and then you can debate and you can receive feedback from the people assisting on the call. And then we have a specific calendar for these parties. So these ones are the parties that, for example, we have one today in 2 hours, in 1 hour and a half. And we have a bunch of other parties for the rest of the week. The idea is that everyone can assist and learn about token economics in a way that it's simple, in a way that it's learning and applicable, because we are talking about real scenarios in this case. So I invite you to take a look at it if you feel like, and if you're interested in token economics. So that's a little bit of the params working group. We have comms with Shui here. I don't know if you are in conditions to explain a little bit about comms. Let me know if you can.
Yes, I do. I'm com already. Yes, communications. What do we do in comms? We help spread the message about token engineering. And also activities surrounding what's going on in the TEC as a community itself. Like right now we're having the params party, so we are coordinating around helping the community know about these events. And after the commons upgrade, which is the process that we are going through right now, we're gonna become a communication services provider for token engineering related projects, and we're gonna call these like a unit team. So we're gonna have many teams made by creatives involved in different activities around marketing, graphic design, animation, pretty much like any kind of ad agency like related stuff. But we want to build different communities that are going to provide these services as a public good for expanding token engineering and supporting our mission, vision, and values as a community.
Thank you, Sherry, for that. We also have Comunitas, which is the working group dedicated to host this call. It's a working group co-host between Tam and me, and it's a working group dedicated for community building and all the things that goes from onboarding journey to keep track of new people, newcomers, and so on. So if you're interested on community building and all these kind of processes, you're welcome to join this working group also. We have 3 specific kind of exercises, public and open exercises. The first one, yes, Cesar, sorry.
Which group was that? The last one that you said about community building? Was it community talks? Okay, perfect.
Yes. You're welcome. And we have 3 exercises. The first is a weekly 3 calls, sorry. The first is a weekly call that happens on Monday, 8 p.m. CET. We also have this call, orientation call, 6 p.m. CET. And then we have TEC Lounge, which is a non-work related space that happens on Friday at 5 p.m. CET, where if you just were interested in why do I have photos in my background, you want to ask me about it, and you can come to the call and just ask any kind of question, as random as that one could be, or you can talk about how was your week, or what was the last thing you watched on TV that week. So that's a TEC Lounge, and the idea is to reinforce the bonds in between the community members and to acknowledge, as Tam mentioned, we are a human-centric organization, so we want to reinforce these behaviors and these connections in between everyone. We also have labs, which is the work group dedicated to experimentation, to data analysis. It's taken care by YGG, which is the steward, and right now they are going through, if I'm not wrong, through a Solidity introductory course using NFT. That's what they are doing right now. And we have Common Swarm, which is the last working group. As a Common Swarm, it's a technical working group that it's a partnership between OneHive and us to develop the dashboard and other tools that we are using for our deployment. Before we continue, we talk about a lot about the Commons upgrade, and I don't know if everyone here is familiar about the concept of the Commons upgrade. So, Tam, would you like to explain a little bit what is the Commons upgrade before we keep this conversation?
Sure. Oh, I'd love to. So the Token Engineering Commons is a commons, which is actually a design pattern that was introduced by the Commons Stack, which is another organization. And the first community to use this design pattern to deploy their commons is the Token Engineering community. So the Token Engineering and the Token Engineering Commons community are actually very tightly interlinked with each other. The two-phase hatch approach was to first create a simple DAO with simple configurations and do fundraising. And that was phase one. And then maybe you could bring up in the Git book the diagrams so it's super easy to see, or I can do that too. And phase two is taking this DAO and turning it into a commons. So phase two is configuring as a community the parameters for the augmented bonding curve, as Nate said, and conviction voting. And that's really what the Params team has built, this really cool dashboard to, one, educate, and has created these sessions to answer questions and to help people understand what these modules are, how they work, and what impact the parameters have on the output. So there's some really simple rendering models of what the changing the parameters will look like. So the Commons upgrade is basically upon us now. The most important things about the Commons upgrade is that, one, we're building it as a community. So everyone who participated in phase one holds hatch tokens, and the proposals will be voted upon by the holders of hatch tokens. The second most other important thing is the launch of the augmented bonding curve means that the TEC token becomes public. So the hatch raise was actually a closed raise that was only open to people who were members of Common Stack Trusted Seed to make sure that there were altruistically minded, value-aligned individuals that have been screened and curated participating in the hatch phase, because these are the people that we're going to depend on to design our bonding curve. So we wanted people who would take an interest in the long-term sustainability of this economy over the number go up, short-term gain perspective. So we are right now hosting parties where people can spend an hour using the dashboard, asking questions, comparing, debating, and submitting a proposal. Anyone in the community can submit a proposal that will then be voted upon by the token holders. It's a really cool opportunity for everyone who's interested in understanding the mechanisms of these modules.
Thank you, Ted. So it's to provide a little bit of context. So until this point, we have talked a lot about the TEC. And I want to make a small pause to pass it on, and I want you to know a little bit more about you guys. And just trying to see how we can sort of guide you through the TEC. So we will open a round for questions. If anyone here have a question, a specific question, a general question, a silly question that you may think it is, or a complicated question, whatever question you may have. And then you can just unmute yourself and ask right away. I will count to 5 to pass it on to someone who has muted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If no one, yeah. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the explanation, guys. I really appreciate it. Who would be the person to talk to for self-governance? I'm not sure. That's like one that really stood out to me. I love just governance in general. Like my nonprofit practices sociocracy, which is like a style of governance, and I see a lot of the principles that you guys do are very similar, very aligned, and so I'm very interested in kind of helping out that group. How would I go about it?
Sure. So Libby, it's a steward from this working group, and they meet every Tuesday, 7 p.m. So my usual recommendations when someone is interested in a working group, it's either go to the agenda to see what they told in the last session, or either go to YouTube and check in the Softcup last meeting because they were recorded. I can send you the links privately so you can have them. And the idea is that you can just enter the call. It happens every Tuesday at 7 p.m. CET. And you can just join. You can, if you want, briefly or ask questions to Libby before entering the meeting, but everyone there is welcoming, and usually Libby explains, have an introductory question to everyone so you can break the ice a little bit, and it's a really safe space to assist. And we have also documentation in the Git book if you want to take a full dive into what Softcup does. Does that clear your question?
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
No problem. So does anyone else have any other question regarding the TEC or anything you have stumbled upon? Jessica.
I just want to say I also dropped the link for the calendar in the orientation channel. I tagged you, Caesar, but I think it's useful for everyone. There's tons of calls, and each of the working groups have a weekly or bi-weekly call. All the calls are open. If something fits your schedule and your curiosity, just hop on, where all of the stewards, it's all run by the stewards, by one steward, and the steward is, part of our responsibility is to make sure that the people who hop on feel welcome and included in the conversation. We always make space for everyone to have a chance to speak and to be heard, and to, space for their voices too.
Yes, once you click on the link, there will be a plus sign at the bottom of the calendar. Once you click on it, it will be adding that calendar to your calendar, so you can have it on your own in case you want. I saw that you put your camera up, Pythagorean. I don't know if that's because you have a question or you just want to show your.
Well, I wanted to first say, Cesar, we use sociocracy at our as well, so that's just cool to see these patterns emerge, because that's pretty great. And also, Michael Keating, I was wondering, are you the first of a bunch of your friends to come join us here?
I have friends, meaning Colonel Fellows?
Yeah.
I hope so. There's there is someone from Lauren. I might mispronounce her last name. Lux or Luce is also a fellow in our block, and she's hosting a pram party for us tomorrow morning. So I think that's just going to continue to raise the profile of Token Engineering Commons and the Common Stack amongst Colonel Fellows who may not already be aware of it. We've been playing the game that I'm going to forget the name of it. A sort of common simulator that where you've traveled into the past and try to save the future. And we had a whole bunch of people in the Slack try their hand at it and try to beat each other's scores. So there's awareness of the important work that this community is doing, and I think a lot of already shared values and probably overlapping people. And so I wouldn't be surprised if more of us will start wandering over to the Discord and the community calls and look for ways to learn and collaborate.
Nice. So cool. These are exciting times right now.
Yeah. I think there's a few of the stewards and a number of people in our community who are the earlier Kernel X cohorts as well. I think that there's a lot of overlap between our communities.
I was reflecting earlier in the Param party with Lauren how I'm just so grateful that so much tooling and processes and work and protocol protocols have been done to lead up to the point where I can just like pop in and be like, "Hi, I'd like to get involved." Like, it's really, really a testament to the work that y'all are doing. So thank you. It's nice.
Thank you for that. And I see you were not in Ross Live. Do you have any thoughts regarding this?
Yes, I actually had a question kind of following up with that. Well, first off, thanks for this amazing presentation. Super glad I got to be able to witness that and take notes and just be in this environment that you guys curated. So real quick, I'm working on a DAO, help start that, 40 acres, helping create self-sustaining communities of color, utilizing blockchain technology. Just trying to onboard more marginalized communities into the Web3 space. Figured there's a lot of mission alignment between what you guys are doing with Tech Commons as well. So I was just curious, the first question is, with these param parties, I believe Michael was just kind of alluding to it, of hosting one for other organizations. Is that something we could co-sponsor? We have a aspiring or growing community ourselves, and a lot of people still have no idea about the token economics or token engineering. So really showing them this and bringing it to them in a clear and concise way has been a mission of ours ever since we've kind of stumbled upon you guys. And just basically, is that something we can work out, and how does that look? Is there a certain working group you talk to? I guess it'd be the parameters working group then.
Actually,
right.
I've been organizing many param parties for other community. So I'll DM you, like, yeah,
yes.
I would love to
Please do.
One for you guys.
And when who is this to? Because I think I turned my friends off, so I gotta add you.
Chewy. This is Chewy. Yeah.
Chewy, amazing, brother. Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Let me make sure I go ahead and add you. The other question I had was just as far as gamification of the education process when it comes to token design. Is there any resources or tooling you guys are building or looking at or can share with us? I just feel like it's very important to just make it a fun learning process of all of this stuff.
So go ahead, Nate.
I think Tam, you go.
I mean, I think we're all going to have probably good ideas. I'd say, look, there's. So I mentioned that the token engineering commons are very tightly knit communities. There is a academy called Token Engineering Academy, run by Angelek Reitnice. If you actually look on the help channel right now, there was a discussion around some of the initiatives around token designs. Was an answer to other people's questions. Every month they have an introduction to token engineering. And this is a free course that's open to anyone. And it specifically is non-technical. So it's for anybody from any discipline. You know, token engineering is looked at as a transdisciplinary field because there's of course cryptography and engineering, and then there's legal and philosophy and more liberal arts domains that sort of feed into this discipline, as well as game theory and game design and network designs. So there's many different disciplines which sort of feed into this, which is why coming to token engineering and looking at it from a very holistic point of view is one of the advantages of that course. And they have more deeper courses for higher skill sets in terms of the engineering or programming and other aspects as well. But the introductory course is really, I couldn't recommend more for everyone interested in token engineering it's maybe 2 hours, and it's a really great 2 hours use of your time.
The next one's tomorrow, I think, as well.
Oh, love it. Thank you so much for that. Definitely will be in there.
And as Michael also mentioned, we also have the Common Simulator, which is kind of a game. That also it's a tool. It's a gamification process for understanding a little bit of these dynamics. I can also send you to the link, or if anyone is interested, you can just share the link on orientation for them to have it. It will be amazing. I don't know if that cleared the questions, Ross, or do you?
No, 100%. That answered it from top down. I appreciate you guys. Really looking forward just to being more in the community, providing value and just soaking up all the game.
Nice, and I commend you also for your work with marginalized communities. I think that's an intersection that should happen more often. And it's nice that the token economics field is expanding to the point that it's touching these communities and it's touching these opportunities for other people to reach out. I am from a small country. I'm from Panama, very small state, and I know how like this conversation sometimes seems so far from the people where I come from. But at the end, the contributions to their life and the contributions to their space, it's immeasurable, like the way they can impact their lives.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We actually had Nico come in yesterday and just share with us and talk about some of the things you guys been building. So it's like, it's always good to have like-minded people come together, share ideas, cultivate new ones, and just be able to teach one. And I think that's what we're trying to do, just really be information aggregators as such to help reach out to those who might not know anything about token engineering, Web3, or anything even blockchain related. Because again, for some people, it's NFT, DAOs, crypto is just something that's too far out of their reach, even though it's open source and whatnot. But yeah, thanks again, guys.
No problem. And this is a bridge we are trying to build, and hopefully we are eventually get there. Does anyone else have any other question related to the community, our space, or any, or the field could be also? I will count down to 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I will also like to give the space to the people who entered, YNSG, to introduce yourself a little bit and just explain a little bit how you got here, if you feel like, and if you are capable of. I don't know if I mispronounce your name, YNSG. And if you can talk, that's okay too.
Hello. Hey, hi. Hi, Gio. I mean, you can call me as Ganesh, okay? So my pseudo name was YNSG, yeah. Let me give a brief background of my technical stack. Probably, I'm into an database technologies such as I used to work with the different visualization, and my mainstream was analytics. So I used to work for the past 10 years. I'm into IT industry with different types of analytics, data analytics team. So I was just searching for a DAO, right? I mean, there was a reward system program, something DAO interrogation. I mean, this is the best DAO system which been derived from different protocols, right? So I just gone through that and came to know that there is a separate group for this, and just entered here as guest actually. So just looking out for that if any opportunities are available, I can able to upload this report. Thanks. That's all from my side. I'm from India actually. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you for that. And how about you, ADJ? If you can talk, ADJ, AYDJ, that's okay. I had a few questions from the introduction that everyone sort of did, and I was curious to know, Casale, what caught your attention to go back to the space after being here, and what is your point of interest at the moment? Is there any way we can help you to sort of get in the loop again?
I have been interested in working on several working in general on the Web3 space, but since school is kind of taking me a lot of time, I had a break for the last month or two about projects in general. So right now, school is like lighter, so I'm trying to go back and I also didn't like fully like understand like the entire concept of TEC. Like I understand, but like in detail, you know. So yeah, I'm trying to like dedicate the time to like learn. You know, I don't know how to like correctly say this, but yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally get it. It took me about 2 months to fully understand many concepts and many ideas that were explained here. We didn't have a lot of documentation back then, but if you need a one-on-one and where we can just talk about it and briefly help you to get a grasp of on these things and get you in the right path, let me know. You can write me a DM and as the same with other students here present, and we can guide you through the process so it will be easier for you.
Thank you.
No problem. And then I wanted to also ask Rob Penguin. You mentioned you didn't like corporate structure and that you sort of went into the rabbit hole of DAO and blockchain. Do you like why? What was about the corporate structure that you didn't like, and what did you like about this rabbit hole that you have been diving into?
Yeah, can I answer that? It's like the little cog in the big machine, and I felt like I didn't have a lot of control for the direction, and that like the company I went in, it was already set up. Like they were invested, like they had to do things to make their stock options print, and that was kind of the driving motivation. So I feel like here we're or at least it seems we're trying to build something new. So I'll have a chance to kind of influence the direction and feel more impactful. And it's not profit driven, which I think a lot of corporations, they have like boards and everybody's like, okay, we need to make money. So kind of away from that and towards real value, not just money value.
Right. Thank you for that. We are in the last 4 minutes of the time that we have. I want to briefly just go through, if you go to the screen of this poll, to briefly explain you a little bit of our Discord, just to put you in context. To the menu in your left, once you go to the Token Engineering Commons Discord, you have the join here and the orientation channels. Orientation is if you have any question, if you need a one-on-one, or you have a question after this call, you can go there and put it there. Then down below we have the other support channels. We have the job board. So if any of you is probably looking at a job or you know about a job, just can just share it there. We have the help for any other kind of questions that you may have. I actually saw Michael there on the help channel a few days ago. Thank you for that, Michael. And then down below we have information channels, announcements, and so on. And then we have the chat channels. And on the chat channels, we have the general for any kind of topics, the amplify, where if you are interested in other people's and other related news to engineer, there's a lot of information shared there by our partners that goes to the amplify and share their courses, the trainings, anything can go there related to other spaces. And then we have the praise. So I would like to take the last 3 minutes for Nate, if you can explain a little bit about the praise before we finish. You will receive a praise after this call, so I want you to just get a grasp of what is praise before we finish this call.
Yeah, so the praise is a big part of our cultural build. Praise is something that we do as much as possible, so everybody has the agency to dish praise. The idea is that we want to thank everybody for the work that they do. So it's just basically publicly recognizing the work that others do and saying, hey, I collaborated with you on this project. I want to send you praise. And so we accumulate this praise into a praise channel, and it does two things. It kind of encourages people to participate. It's this form of intrinsic motivation that we have to say, hey, man, every time I receive praise, I get really happy and excited because it feels good to have your work recognized by others. And secondly, it becomes kind of this information sharing method that we incorporate within the community that allows us to have this kind of message board where it's like, hey, this is what's going on in the community. Because every time I praise something, I praise specifically what they have done within the community. And that helps us share information as we scale up. It's getting harder and harder to know what's going on in the community. And so it's kind of a method for community information sharing as we get bigger and bigger. And so I encourage everybody to learn how to praise properly and to exercise your praise powers responsibly. And in a lot of ways, it's going to be incorporated into our reward system. So it's kind of this way to capture the value that is produced by individuals that is not typically captured by typical reward systems. So the kind of these things that get overlooked, the way you approach your work, the encouraging talk that you give to others, the things that typically would normally go ignored in traditional reward systems or payment systems get recognized this way. And so praise is a multifaceted practice within our cultural build in TEC, and I encourage you to look into it more and to practice it as much as possible. So I hope I described that okay. So pass it back to you.
Thank you, Nick. And I will praise you all for taking 1 hour of your time and joining our orientation call. Thank you so much. Our DMs are open in case you need a follow-up, in case you have more questions, in case you were shy, couldn't ask a question. Shoot it right away. We are here for you to help you, to make you feel welcome to our community. This is our mission, and we want you to feel like home. So thank you so much for your time, guys. It was a pleasure to have you here, and I look forward to seeing you. We have community call tomorrow. If you want to join and see more a little bit about what's going on at DEC, it happens 8 p.m. CET. And I look forward to see you all. Take care and have a lovely Wednesday.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Ed.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Bye.